Oh, that's right, folks. It's me. It's the THC DOGG back here for another enlightening, educational, heart-stomping episode of WMW Rezin. With me, as always, the I to the double ZY, Mr. Izzy. Hi, what is good, my friend? What is good?
You put the expectation pretty high with heart stopping, man. I'm just trying to create a balance at this point. Heart stopping might be a little extreme, but fuck it, our guest is kind of extreme. You want to run an introduction video and then I'll give her a proper introduction?
I absolutely will, folks. Check this one out.
6 million ways to die. Choose one.
It's time to sing, but I don't know where to up from head. Up or down, right or left, life or death. I see myself in the midst of smoke. Death becomes any nigga that takes me for a joke. We hit a $5 stick, now we putting in work. Unaccountable amounts of dirt. Death becomes all niggas. Anybody killer, you know what the deal is. Brand niggas on the corner flagging me down, singing your dad, what's up with the pound? Is that nigga Snoop alright? Hey yo, what's up at the crib? Is them niggas in jail or is the niggas through? I said if you ain't up on things, Snoop Dogg is the name, don't count the gang. It's like this, they don't understand. It's an everyday thing to gang. Everything like that switch gon' be your shit. Let these niggas know what's up with you. I represent the town and death row. They can't let it come in and watch EDOG.
All right. That was the highlights from our guest today. Izzy?
Man, it is so awesome to be able to introduce this lady. Such an amazing person. One of the stars of the Netflix show, The Wrestlers. Also, one part of JCW, part of WOW, and one of the biggest compliments I can give this lady. She's another one of the Smothers kids. Ladies and gentlemen, Miss Amazing Maria.
Hi, how are you today?
Good. What's happening?
Oh, life is good. Welcome to Rezin. Izzy has had some absolutely lovely things to say. So I thank you very much for coming out and talking with us today.
Of course.
So we cover a mix of things here, but one of the things that I always like to ask all of our guests is when were you bitten by the wrestling bug?
Oh, bitten as a child, many years ago.
Okay.
I used to watch wrestling with my grandma.
Nice.
My grandma passed away when I was 9, so way before. I used to watch wrestling with my grandma, and she hated the bad guys, and I loved the bad guys. And she would like throw things at the TV and all that stuff. So it was always a good time.
What area did you grow up in?
Oh my word! So I'm from a very small town in Kentucky,
Right.
called Dunville.
Okay.
Not Danville. A lot of people get it confused with Danville. I'm like, no, Danville has a Walmart. We have a gas station.
Right.
We had like 6 churches and 1 stop sign in my whole.
So the Memphis territory or southeastern might have been the shows you were watching then?
Memphis wrestling was real big in my area.
Right. Oh, air silence. Who was some of your favorites at that time?
Oh my gosh. Like I said, I was always like the only good guy per se that I liked was Macho Man.
Right.
But I was a bad guy. The big boss man doing the whole cemetery deal was amazing for me.
when he dragged the 400-pound Big Show across the cemetery on top of the casket.
Yeah. That was, I freaking loved it. I was just like, oh my God, he's such a bad guy. This is amazing.
Ray,
good. I was just gonna say, like everybody knows, like back then. So I'm 46 now, so I'm old, but or middle old. But back then, I was like 8, 9 with my grandma. Ric Flair would be bleeding all over the place, and everybody would be beating him up, and it was just all those times with my grandma were just so special to me. So
sure. I think if you pay him $50, you can beat Ric Flair up now. I think He's open for donations.
It'd be worth it.
So
I saw.
go ahead. I was going to say that we always hear the stories of how mild mannered the grandparents were until wrestling came on. Same story.
I'm sorry.
I said we always hear stories about how mild mannered everybody's grandparents were
Oh,
until wrestling.
absolutely. Oh,
Until
absolutely. My
wrestling
grandma.
came on.
Yes, my grandma was the most mild mannered. Like, I think she spanked me one time as a kid and then cried about it.
Right.
And she would never let my grandpa spank us or anything like that. Like, she was the quiet, calm one until wrestling came on, and then she would throw things at the TV. It was great.
Do you remember your first live show? I'm sorry, Chris. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
You know, it's really sad. Like, growing up and stuff, I had no idea what the independents were.
Mhm.
Like, I honestly didn't know anything about like independent wrestling until I was about 26 years old. Like, I didn't go to my first independent show until I was like 26, and then um I never actually went to a live show because I was poor. I couldn't afford it.
Right.
Until, I was like, my kids, I already had my kids. I took my kids to their first like live show in Nashville, Tennessee.
Right.
And I think Haley was probably 7 or 8 at the time. My son was 9 or 10, So
It's funny what you were saying about your grandparents, because back in 1994, me and most of the guys that I hung out with were very much into wrestling. The girls I hung out with didn't really give a shit. But SummerSlam '94, Undertaker versus Underfaker, those ladies came outside of their mind when that match. And I'm sitting here looking at them. I'm like, I thought you guys didn't like wrestling. And they're like, oh my god, but look, and I'm like, this is why we love wrestling. So it is one of those things that it brings a different mood to the room.
100%. It's just like, I mean, once you're in wrestling, I guess you get it when characters start clicking in, but it's like a whole different person, a whole new persona kind of just comes out of you, and you're like, oh, I didn't know I had this in me. But and then once you get in wrestling, like some of us have, then you get to put that persona on display, and it just turns it up even more, makes it even more special.
So who broke you in? It was
Ooh, Lord have mercy. All right, so my first 2-ish years, I always say that I don't count because I had really bad training. Really, it was not a good promotion in Kentucky. It was the first place I found. This girl I went to high school with, her husband was actually the promoter, and I became their photographer in like 2007, 2008, and I started training with them after a while, and almost broke my neck, taking a suplex because they didn't know how to train me right. I broke my arm, taking crossbodies. Um, I have 2 fake teeth, one due to a fight when I was like 17, 18, and one due to a car accident. So I have 2 fake teeth. We were doing leapfrogs, and the person like I was training with never would get under me and would trip me, and I smashed my face and like knocked my teeth out. Like, it was not good.
Right.
Yeah.
I relearned my basics when I got with Larry D. Legendary Larry D helped me so much at PTW Primetime Wrestling. And then I got with Tracy, and just going on the road with Tracy and him being like, you're one of my kids now. I'm like, okay. And then I learned locker room etiquette. I learned how to be on the road. I learned how to survive. I learned how to be a character from Tracy, because everything was real. It was, and I learned how to speak Carney, because if you know how to speak Carney, it's a lost art these days. And, if you're on the road with Tracy and he finds out you can't speak Carney, he only talks in Carney. So,
Nice.
You feel fucking gizu.
Zach and Gizu.
Your family. That's your family over there. That's your family.
There's family. I look at them. They're having a good day today. We don't want to meet them.
So, what does Maria do when she's not in the ring being amazing?
Maria does lots of things. I was previously a food and beverage director at a hotel. I recently just let that go, and for the past couple weeks, I've not been doing anything, to be honest. I'm working with a gentleman for convention pre-sales, and we're starting to bring in talent to different conventions and stuff. We've got a big event in New York coming up, WrestleCade coming up,
Thanks.
Square Circle Expo after that. So I'm going back to school, finish my business degree, and yeah, taking a leap of faith.
Hey, you know what? I started this whole thing when I was 46 years old. So, this whole thing, it's late in life. I understand that, but it was a matter of meeting the right people, making the connections. And I mean, Izzy and I hooked up and we were off to the races. And there's so much going on. And we're going to take a quick commercial break and we'll come right back.
JCW Lunacy. New episodes every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on YouTube. For over 25 years, JCW has delivered the very best in pro wrestling entertainment, bringing fans deep storytelling drama, gut-busting comedy, and unbelievable in-ring action. From wild characters to unforgettable, has built a legacy that spans generations of fans. Whether you've been watching since day one or you're brand new to the chaos, there's never been a better time to join the madness. See why JCW is the hottest promotion in independent wrestling today, where anything can happen, and usually does. Don't miss a single moment. Tune in every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on YouTube and catch up on past episodes right now. JCW Lunacy. It's more than wrestling. It's a way of life.
Yes, indeed. So,
Commercial.
what's it like to work with the clowns?
And it's amazing. I'm not gonna lie. So my sister, I have a little sister. She's like 3 years younger than me, and she was always an ICP fan, right? And when she was in like high school, they were first coming up and huge, and I'm like, what music? And like I listened to it, and I'm like, what is this? Like I had no idea. I had no idea what a Juggalo was. I had no idea what ICP was. I knew what Fago was because it was cheap soda and it was delicious. And my sister, like the very first ever gathering, she's like, I want to go to the gathering so bad. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, you have no idea what's going on. So that was back, let's see, late, I don't know, 98, 99, 2000-ish, And then 2014, I got my first call to go work for the clowns. And so it was like day of. It was the gathering. And I was at home and Pondo calls me and he's like, hey, how far away do you live from Thornville, Ohio? And I was like, 3 hours. He's like, perfect. You want to wrestle today? I was like, hell yeah, it's a booking, right? He's like, yeah, well, you're wrestling at the gathering. Be here by this time. Pick up your credentials, da-da-da-da. And I'm like, is this really happening? So I go, and I was supposed to be there for the one night. I wound up staying the entire weekend. Met Joe and Joey. They were fantastic people, And then, so I basically worked for them ever since. Like, ever since 2014, like I've done the Big Ballers, the Hallow Wicked, Juggalo Day weekends, anything and everything JCW, I've done. The tours, all of that. And there was a time, Joe went through some things and stuff, and I actually got to talk to him and like get to know who Violent J was as a person.
Sure.
And then when like the Flint, Michigan water situation was going on, they would constantly send water to help in Flint, Michigan, because as you guys know, they're from Detroit and stuff. And I'm like, back then, like early 2015, 16, 17, I'm getting to know who they are. I'm getting to know their music and like who they are as actual people, not just like the celebrities or the superstars, the clowns, the this, the juggalo, the that, like who they truly are as people. And like they're amazing people. They would give you the shirt off their back for if you needed it. And like I remember Joe had told me how back in the day when they first tried to get started, like nobody would give them a chance and nobody would help them, and they built Psychopathic from the ground up. And like that really resonated with me because I know what it's like when nobody wants to help you, when nobody wants to give you an
Sure.
opportunity or a chance. And I grew to respect ICP so much. And I think my last show for them was like 2019. And then just recently got the call back to go back on tour. And I was on tour with them through the Ho Texas tour. And it's been amazing. I can't say not one bad thing about Joe and Joey.
I'll tell you how far ground up they've come. And this conversation I'm speaking of happened in 2000. And I had asked Joe, Violent J, I said, how's it feel, man? Because they were starting to do really good. And he said the mark of success for him was he was able to order a steak anytime he wanted one. So does that tell you anything? All right. That was one of the coolest statements I could, that's ground up.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
I give a lot of credit to those guys because they wanted this wrestling thing to happen. They were fans. They had their own thing that they were doing, and the opportunities that were presented to them from Vince and then later from Bischoff, thought was a little odd. But it was really I had heard the first album. And I was kind of like, oh, okay, is what it is. But then when they went into the WWF and did the Oddities song, I was like, that's a catchy piece of music right there. And so I started checking them out a little bit more, and I was like, all right, yeah, I can see what these guys are laying down. And then the next thing I know, they were in WCW, and they're working with Muda and Vampiro and Sting and all those guys, and it's like, all right, okay, they're serious about this. They're not just here, no pun intended, but they're not just here for the clown show. They wanted this thing. They wanted this wrestling thing. And they've done it. I mean, 25 years of the gathering this year.
It was amazing. It was a good time.
I mean, that's amazing. That is absolutely a showcase of what Will can accomplish. 30 years ago, they were, wrestling in backyards and that stuff. And now they've got their TV show, they've got their promotion, they tour, the band's touring. I mean, they wanted it and they made it happen, and they got it. People can say whatever they want. I know a lot of people have a problem with them or whatever, but I applaud them because they put their nose to the grind and they were like, this is our dream. We're going to make this happen.
And they did that. That's what I say. Like they did it from like the ground up. You know what I mean? And can't nobody take that away from them.
Nope.
And even throughout all that time, they both really did stay grounded and remain good people.
Yeah.
Like I said, Joe will give you the shirt off his back if he knew that you needed it. And that's not from like, oh, I want to suck up to ICP or this or that and other. It's like stuff I've physically seen with my own eyes.
Sure.
As, that is a testament to what kind of person he is.
And
And Shaggy too,
And the other part of that as well is they share how they did it. Okay.
Yes.
They lay out the blueprints for anybody to go after their dreams as well. That's not a secret, but anyhow, it's as they've done this, as I said, they laid out the blueprint to where if you have goals, you have dreams, and it's humanly possible, we're all human.
Yes.
sense. All right. So
That's like it's like the Juggalo March. I was so upset that I couldn't go to DC for the Juggalo March, and it was because I was booked, and I've always been one like I'm not going to cancel on somebody to go do something else that I really really want to do. So
Sure.
if you go through my Instagram back to the time when the Juggalo March happened, like I took my pendant and I laced it into my boots, and I literally wrestled with my Hatchet Man laced into my
Nice.
boots that day,
Nice.
and posted it, you know. Um, and then of course like gave all the support in the world to Shane and Isaiah and Pondo because they actually went on without me because like I said I was booked and I didn't want to break that up. But the Juggalo March was, you know, it was like, see us, we are not bad people,
Right.
you know, and for them to be labeled as such over the years is just insanely
Yeah,
crazy.
it was the FBI stating they were a gang, you know, an organized gang. I was kind of like,
wild.
fans, man. You know, are the
One thing-
Swifties an organized? Are the Swifties an organized gang? There's a hell of a lot more than them out there.
One thing that stood out to me, though, amongst all that as well, was where were all these free speech musicians at that
Right.
point in time? Where were these guys to stand up for? Do you understand? And with all the hatred and everything else, how much is swept under the rug about what these guys have done positive in this world?
Yeah.
You wouldn't believe
That's what
it. Yeah.
people do it all the time, you know, like no one gives them credit for sending water to Flint, Michigan when Flint was completely out of water, you know. They
Helping pay
they
for somebody's funeral.
yeah, like, you know, I remember one time we did a show in Detroit at the Token Lounge for I think maybe Girl Fight.
Mhm.
It may have been Girl Fight or it may have been Violent J's son's birthday party. I can't remember which it was, but it was snowing and Joe took us all out to dinner and took care of everybody. He was like, hey, it may have been his son's birthday party. You know, thank you guys so much for being here. We know the weather is bad. Like let me just pay you back for helping me. And
Not kidding.
you know, sorry. My little man just came out.
That's all I got. We're often frequented by pets and children here on the podcast. They pop in, so that's always, you know, that's always nice. It's a good kitty. I got two great kitties myself, and a tortie who we rescued last year, who is an absolute nightmare. She just has so much energy. It's crazy.
He's a rescue too. He just likes to hang out in the basement. So when he comes out, it's very rare. So, you know.
So, Izzy, when did you first become aware of Maria and what she was bringing to the table?
Oh, shit. How far?
We have a mutual thing in common that we didn't know about until later on in life. Like he used to work for IWA Mid South, and then I started working for IWA Mid South, but he was already gone. And like I would always hear, you know, the stories of the American kickboxer and how good he was and his mind for professional wrestling. And then we met later on in life, and I love this man.
Right on.
Well, the one thing, and as I said, I can't explain enough how important and how special it is to be a Smothers kid. All right.
Man.
And there's maybe, all right, and that stamp of approval. And I'm almost in tears as I sit here and I talk about it, because when Tracy seen something in you, he did everything he could to make sure that you got the spotlight right along with him.
Oh, 100%.
And he wasn't greedy about it at all. And to say you're a Smothers kid is such a badge of honor, and I can't express that enough to the world. And I miss that man every day of my life.
All right, let's jump out for a quick commercial. I'll be right back.
How can ordinary choices bring you face to face with death?
It was really safe.
Alicia, it's okay. Felicia! Felicia! It's okay!
Mother.
I think it's so amazing that you can reach people's deceased loved ones.
Well, some people have unfinished business, and that's why they stay.
Hi. I rented out the suite online.
Pull yourself together.
Bestie.
Will you dare to open the door?
You're always going to be welcome here. Always.
Now, I'm not going to say I played that ad because I wrote that movie. Just an observation. Yes, at Death's Door, we have dropped on Yakuza TV. We're on Tubi, and we just got the notification that we're going to be up on Apple TV.
Oh,
so the movie is the word is building. The live theater premiere is next weekend. So that's cool stuff. Unfortunately, it's too far for me to get up to, but I shot a little something, to send in to them. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So,
let's play a little game here real quick, man, Maria. and it's going to sound odd, but you tell me mine and I'll tell you your, you tell me yours and I'll tell you mine with, give me your favorite Tracy story.
Oh my gosh. All right. So, so everybody that knew Tracy knew that he doesn't like to stop if you're traveling on the road. Okay. It's like, got to get there, got to get to the next town. You know what I mean? So if you're a guy, that's okay. Girls, we kind of tend to need to use the bathroom a little bit more than guys do. But Tracy used to carry these 44-ounce cups, right, in the car with him. And he'd pee in them, chuck them out the window if he had to go to the bathroom. God love him. My very first ever road trip with Tracy that I had to drive. Now, I don't have any peripheral vision, okay, in my right eye. So, if you do this, how you're supposed to be able to see your fingers. Well, I can't see my fingers. My peripheral vision kind of halfway in. And so I'm driving and, we're listening to the radio. Tracy's like, throwing them at me. Good tunes, And then he looks over at me and he goes, turn your head. I don't want you to laugh. And I'm like, what? He goes, turn your head. I don't want you to laugh. And he had to take a pee, right? And I'm like, Tracy, I'm driving. He goes, turn your head. I don't want you to laugh. So I'm sitting here, driving, trying to watch the road out the non-peripheral view of my right eye that I can't see out of, trying to drive. And then, he does his business, throws the cup out the window, and he's like, all right, we're good. And I was just like, I could have killed this. That's got to be my favorite. I mean, I have so many stories of Tracy, but that's probably my favorite because it was my first time ever driving. I can't see. And he's just like, turn your head. I don't want you to laugh. And I'm like, okay.
Was he implying small manhood, or was he just didn't want to have you watching him pee in a cup? Seems like a weird.
The most gentlemanly thing he could do at the moment.
So. Yeah, it was very gentleman. He used to do the same thing in the locker rooms. If there were girls in the locker room, he would tell them, "Hey, kid, turn your head. I don't want you to laugh," while he's under his towel trying to change out of his trunks and put his undies back on. But yeah, like I said, I have so many Tracy stories, but that one, that's the one.
My favorite, and it's in his book, but they kind of censored it a little bit. But my favorite was him and I were sitting out outside of a building and having a safety meeting beforehand. And Harley Race is inside. And Tracy worships Harley.
Yes.
He's like, man, Harley Race is in there. Man, the lightning shoots from his elbows. You know how bad Harley Race is. Man, he's gonna pick me off. I'm all high, man. He's gonna pick me off. Look at me like I'm a goof. I said, man, Tracy, this building's so big you could avoid Harley all night if you really tried to. He's like, no, man, he's gonna pick me off. He's gonna think I'm a goof. Tracy, come on, man. It's good. It's good. So he gets out of the car, and paranoid as he was, he picks up handfuls of snow and he's wiping it on himself before he's to go in because he doesn't want to get picked off by Harley. And I'm sitting in the car watching all this. And as he walks up to the back door, he opens the door and there's Harley right there, like he willed it. And I fell out of the. All Tracy could do is just look back at the car and shake his head. But yeah, that's my favorite Tracy Smothers story. One of. Buy his book, or everybody dies.
Everybody dies.
So, what was the indie scene, or what is the indie scene like for working women's wrestlers? Like what are you?
What is it like now, or what is it like when I got in?
Both.
Or
what's it like when you got it?
Oh my God, it was awful. Oh, it was horrible. There were not a lot of women when I got in who were training, and like I wanted to get in the ring with Sarah Del Rey so bad. And like she was gone. She went to Japan and then she got her job at the PC, and like that opportunity was just But right. Finding women that you could actually get in the ring with and learn from was very hard. I was lucky enough to be in the ring with Sue Young. Randy West is really good as a wrestler. Thunder Kitty, really good, her character work. And those were some of the ladies that I actually got to spend most of my early days with, thankfully. But now, the independent scene for women now is amazing. Back in the day, I remember going to OVW and we used to fight. There was so many girls there, and we used to fight, literally like race down the stairs to get to like Adam Revolver or Danny Davis to try to beg for a dark match. Very rarely were there any women on TV. And I stayed with OVW all these years just because like I wanted to work very hard to try to help women in professional wrestling because I know how hard it was. Like I said, I had really bad training my first few years. And like the second training school that I went to before I got with Larry D, like the trainer, he picked me upside down one time for a body slam and just literally whole hand in the puss and was like, I was like, hey, and he's like, I'm your trainer. I can touch you any way I want to, just
no.
Exactly. But shit like that is what happened for us women back in the day.
Right.
And it's not like that anymore. Like there are amazing training schools that you can go to that have real trainers. And, nowadays women are main eventing. You never saw a woman's main event back in the day, even on the indies for us. Like you were lucky if there was one women's match on a show, period, and you weren't a manager, or a valet.
A valet, yeah.
Yeah, and now like you go to indie shows and there's 3 women's matches on the card, or there might be 1 or 2 women's matches, but the women are main eventing because they're really really good.
Sure.
And there's so many opportunities. Wild Women of Wrestling, which, as you guys know, I work for. Like
I was getting ready to ask you about that because David McLean, what a history in this business. And a lot of people, if you don't know the man's history, he goes back to even being Dick the Bruiser's son-in-law. So, yeah, I'm going to have one of his other son-in-laws on here not too long, Scott Romer. But anyhow, how cool is it to work for David McLean? If anybody doesn't actually know who David McLean is, he was originally part of the original Glow as well. So now he runs WOW, correct?
Correct. And WOW is an amazing place because it really is all women. So, it gives the world an opportunity to see women's wrestling.
Sure.
Just women's wrestling. They're filming tomorrow. I'm not on this event because, as I don't know if everybody knows, but my best friend, my smother sister, my tag partner Jessie Bell, she has recently conquered her battle with breast cancer, and so we are in a group at WoW, and so story, they kind of mixed it in with the storyline that Haley and I are taking care of her, during her battle cancer. So these first episodes we're not going to be filming. They're actually going to be live on Fremont Street tomorrow night and Wednesday night. If anybody wants to go catch Wild Women of Wrestling, absolutely free, right in front of the D and the Four Queens. They are set up on stage, free for the public. It's going to be a great time for everybody. So
nice.
Yeah.
So since it got brought up, what were your feelings about Glow?
Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I hated it. I love the fact that Glow, it honestly, it's the stepping point that let the world see women in a wrestling setting. But the Glow girls were not wrestlers. There were only 3 or 4 out of all of those women that were actual wrestlers, and a credit to those ladies.
Sure.
They've done amazing jobs over the years. But Glow was actresses performing a job to be a wrestler, like any other actor, actress trying, doing a movie or whatever.
Yeah, a variety show with the wrestling background.
Yes, so it was a TV show that had wrestling on it, and like I said, a credit to those ladies that were professional wrestlers that came. Ivory, God love her, that did come out of there and help women's wrestling transition, because those ladies truly are amazing. But yeah, it was. I was just at Cauliflower Alley Club this year. I did a panel on the evolution of women's wrestling, and it got pretty heated if anybody watches, because you had Malaya Hosaka there, and you had myself and Haley. You had Jazz there, who was professional wrestlers, and it then you had a few of the original Glow girls who were the actresses, not the actual wrestlers, and they. I don't want this to come off in a negative way, but they want to be recognized for being the change and the evolution of women's wrestling. And I'm sorry, like, you guys weren't. You guys were actresses doing a job.
Right.
You didn't care. Like, if the job ended tomorrow, it wasn't your passion, you would go and find another acting job and go do another movie or TV show or whatever. You didn't put in the blood, the sweat, the tears, the work, the going through the body fondlers and breaking your backs for something to try to actually revolutionize women's wrestling.
Right.
If that makes sense. So.
Now, I'll tell you one thing that I didn't know until recently, because I actually am working on a book with one of the former Glow wrestlers. The TV show, the Netflix series from a couple of years ago, didn't talk to anybody. Didn't talk to McLean, didn't talk to any of the girls, nobody.
Nope, they just made it all up on their own.
And I was like, why would you pass up the opportunity? I'm not even saying you got to make a cameo, but like, how would you pass up the opportunity of talking to the people who were actually there? If for no other reason than to just help provide a little bit more realism.
I agree.
To the show. It was nice to see Carlito and Johnny, last name wherever he is at the moment. I like
Johnny.
I like Johnny. Hell of a worker. But yeah, every time I see him, he was like Penta. Every time I saw Penta early on, I was like, wait, who isn't that? And they're like, oh yeah, but he's got different names for different. I'm like,
who are you
okay.
today?
Yeah, exactly. So, who growing up, and I know, and this is one of the things that most of the time we end up at least talking a little bit about anytime we have one of the women wrestlers on. What A, did you have any interactions with Moolah, and B, what did you think about how she was kind of the end all be all for a while there?
I never had any interaction with Moolah. I came in, like I said, later in my life, later in the game, and as well as later on in her life and stuff. Sherry Martel was my all-time favorite female back in the day, and I only had one interaction with her. We're not going to talk about it because, God loved Sherry. She loved to drink. So,
she did. She did.
But no, Moolah, people could say whatever they want to about her, but she did help with the revolution of women's wrestling. Like if Moolah didn't, whether she took girls' money or whether she pimped girls out or whatever the rumors may be, if it wasn't for her, women would not have been able to train. Women would not have been able to travel the roads. Women would not have been able to even be a part of women's wrestling. I feel like she did that.
Right.
Same thing for Mildred Burke. Like I did a couple extra spots in the movie Queen of the Ring, and it was such a good experience because it actually told her story relatively well, So, she started the revolution. She was even before Moolah and Mae Young.
Oh yeah.
And what she started, Moolah continued and carried on. So.
I've been working with Robin Smith, and I've heard so many Sherry stories. I wish I had had a chance to meet her. Because I remember growing up with sensational Sherry, but then the Queen Sherry, and you're like, oh, as a so yeah. But I've heard nothing but good things about her. I heard she loved to cook. She loved to cook for everybody. And just, Robin traveled around the world with her for over a year, and just had some tremendous stories to tell. So Sherry is definitely missed.
I'll tell a wonderful story about Sherry and your former manager, Billy the P. Okay? Sherry loved Billy. Okay, and the first time that Billy dyed his hair, he did it wrong, and it turned out orange. So Sherry Martel was the first person to dye Billy the P's hair correctly blonde, and that's a true story. She loved Billy the P, and used to drive her myself. She drive the show, but I spent quite a few months with Sherry in Kentucky, and she was such an awesome person. She really was.
Oh yeah, she used to go down and do, what was Dale Bass's promotion back in the day? Bad to the Bone Wrestling?
Well, in Georgetown or
yeah, in Georgetown.
That was
ICW, and then
ICW.
Bad to the Bone, and
that was Paul Bailey.
Dale worked for him, right? Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah.
And Sherry would stay at Dale and Miss Vicky's house when she was in town. So I got to hear quite a few lovely Sherry stories from Dale and Miss Vicky from back in the day. One of my favorites is like when she first started coming in down there, they had put a tarp up for her to have like a private locker room. And she walked in and was like, what the hell is this? And she like tore it down. She's like, I'm one of the boys. And like,
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the stories that I've heard about Sherry that I have helped really kind of boosted her in my eyes even further was when she first started working with Sean, and it would sell for him. So Sherry told me, he was like, well, just toss his ass outside the ring. I'll make him sell.
I'll make him sell you.
And I was like, right on. So Sherry Martel, so many good memories of her. and her work.
I couldn't imagine seeing you and Sherry work with each other. That would have been such an awesome match. So
Man,
awesome.
I would have loved it so much. She would have beat my ass, and I would have let her.
Of course. Are you kidding me?
She was my favorite. There's a gentleman on Instagram who does paintings and artwork and stuff. I wish I could show you. I have one that he sent me of Haley just literally sitting right over there. But he knows that Sherry is my all-time favorite, and he painted me this wonderful portrait of Sherry that I have hanging on my wall, going up my stairs. I love it. You know, she was. I would have loved to have been able to have time with her.
Yeah. I was fortunate enough at that time to be around her, Candy Devine, and Debbie Combs. They were the regulars around at that time. And even I got to meet Debbie's mother, Cora.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Yeah. To be around and to listen, and such amazing tales and stories. If anybody doesn't know about those ladies, please look them up. They put in the groundwork as well.
And because of Pop, I got to actually meet Debbie Combs.
Yeah.
And Candy Devine.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. They were great. They're great people. I think Debbie's working in the corrections system now, and God bless Candy. She's gone.
Candy, I remember we were going to WrestleCade, I think, in maybe 2017, and me and Jesse picked Pops up in Nashville at the airport, and that's where Candy was living, you know, and she had fixed Thanksgiving dinner and had us all plates and told us to stop by and get plates before we headed out to WrestleCade for that drive to North Carolina. So
yeah.
I actually got to have a Thanksgiving dinner plate from Candy.
That's awesome. And her roots go all the way back to Randy as well, to kind of come back around, but she got started with Randy Savage and that group. So
yeah. And I love the fact that, like, you know, they're all from this Kentucky area. You know, Randy's from Lexington-ish, Georgetown-ish area, right in that little.
Right. Yeah, and that's, as you were talking about Dale Mann, part of that is he picked up that same name and tried to run the different areas that Randy ran at that same time.
Oh, Dale Mann? Yeah.
or, excuse me, Dale Bass. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah.
But Dale Mann is who I had my first match with. So
very nice. Yeah. You know what's really funny? So Dale Mann's actually from Russell Springs, Kentucky.
Yeah, outside of Somerset.
Yeah, so where I'm from, Dunville, I lived on the Russell County, Casey County line, literally like on the line.
Right.
So my house, my bedroom was in Eastern time zone. My brother's bedroom was in Central time zone, which was really crazy for, school bus purposes when we were kids. But Dale Mann used to come because we were rivals in high school sports and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I knew who he was before I knew anything about, I didn't know that he was actually in wrestling or anything like that because, like I said, I didn't know about the indies. But when I was in high school, he used to come to all of our football games, and I would see him at the Russell County football games on Friday nights and stuff. And, I just knew who he was as a sports fan of the county. And like I said, we were rivals. So it was always cool to see him in the stands. And he was one of those fans that would always get all hype and when things were going on the games and stuff. So yeah, I knew Dale Mann before I knew who Dale Mann was.
TNT Dale Mann. And for people that don't know about Dale used to put together small crews, and he'd just go for weekends and a few weeks at a time, and he'd perform and put on shows in any small place that he could. And as I said, my first match was in a place called Sammy's Auction House.
Oh, Sammy's Auction House.
You know of. So outside of Corbin, Kentucky. But that was where my first match was, and it was for Dale Mann out there. And a lot of people got their break and got their start because of Dale Mann. And I can't say enough good things about TNT Dale Mann. So we gave a shout out to Dale Mann, if anything, on this show, right?
That's right.
All right. Let's take a commercial. We'll be right back. We're going to play Straight Fire.
used to have that.
Yes, indeed. The Yakuza TV Film Festival. Submissions open up on Wednesday. And there'll be a link all over our social medias for that. And I think we're going to have a good time. I've met a lot of very creative filmmakers in the last year or so, and I'm excited to see what we get in. Now, it is time to play our favorite game. This is Straight Fire.
What if CAT really spelled dog?
All right, Maria, this is Straight Fire. 5 random questions, no wrong answers. Don't think too hard about it. Let's see here. What is your favorite building to work in?
Ooh, I would have to say OVW.
Okay, right on.
The Davis Arena, yeah.
What is your favorite match that you were in?
Ooh, you can't do that. You don't think on it. That's terrible. You know what? I'm gonna go Sue Young. Favorite female match, Sue Young. Favorite male match, Aaron Williams. Man's amazing.
All right. Let's see. What is a wrestling show or supercard that you can watch anytime?
Ooh, WrestleMania 20, just because I love Eddie Guerrero. He's my favorite wrestler of all time. And him and Kurt Angle. Beautiful.
Oh, tore the house down. Absolutely.
Man.
So who is your favorite opponent over the years? Like, who do you think you get the best matches with?
You know, I can't say over the years because now I have to say my kid.
Okay.
I'm not gonna lie. Haley, I love wrestling her. She likes wrestling me. She just beats me up. We don't have to like do any of the, oh, let's plan a match out or let's talk about anything. We just go wrestle.
Right on. Right on. Excellent. And the last question, if you could book any opponents, any 2 opponents in any type of match throughout history, live or dead, what would that match be?
Haley J and Sherry Martel.
Right on. Right on. So where is the amazing Maria going to be in the next few months? What are you...
Real quick, I don't want to wrap this up yet, man, because one thing that we haven't really talked about that a lot of people recognize and know her from is the show available on Netflix, Wrestlers. What was it like? And most people could not imagine what was it like to have a camera crew around you for that long? How long did they film? And explain that just a little bit.
So invasive. 3 months. They followed us for 3 months. And they were just right there, the entire 3 months. There's so much that they recorded 1,000 hours.
Right.
They have enough footage that they could literally make a season 2 and season 3 if they wanted to, and each thing be different out of the footage that they recorded. They followed a few of us around. The majority of us, there was 3 or 4 major ones: me, Haley, Al, Cashflow, and Kennison did really well. They made him look really well on the series. But it was insane. I remember like they showed some of it where I had to go to WoW and come back, and I literally had just walked out of the airport doors and gotten into the car, and they were calling and they were like, "Are you back? Like, we need to set up, we need to go do this, we need to go do that." And my husband was like, "No, not today. Like, she just got home. Like, I haven't seen my wife in a month. Can I just, or 2 weeks at the time, I think." He's like, "Can we just have the rest of this afternoon?" And we went home, sat down in the recliner, fell asleep, woke up at 8 o'clock, went and had dinner, came back and went right back to bed.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, but it was quality time for he and I. And we didn't get that during the filming because they were so always there. They were always
there.
Yeah. And everything was recorded, whether the camera was on you or not. If you had a mic on, you were being recorded. Whether you were, in the same building or if you were mic'd up, like everything is on record. Like it was a 3 months of just wow. It was crazy. It's a
And
lot of fun.
how cool is it now to see what Cash is doing?
Man,
Oh,
it's so awesome.
I can't express that enough. And if people don't understand, what's the name of the show again?
Tulsa King.
Yeah, great. I can't say enough good things about Cash Flow because he truly earned it to
And
be where he's at.
a little funny story about that. So when Cash auditioned for that role, he was supposed to go and be Sylvester Stallone's bodyguard, and then he was going to be killed off after a couple episodes or whatever.
Right.
And Sylvester Stallone liked him so much that they rewrote and kept him on as his bodyguard, and he's continuing on. They're now just finished. Season 3 is airing now, so.
Yeah, if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, Tulsa King, Cash Flow, he is such an awesome guy. He's Bigfoot on the show.
Bigfoot, yeah, Bigfoot.
Yeah, but I can't express. He truly worked his way up. I watched him start as a security guard in our promotion and the janitor and the guy who set up the ring. And he took beating after beating after beating. And to see where he's at right now, I can't express enough how proud I am of him. I'm sorry, I don't mean to slide too far off, but yeah.
No, I get it. It's an amazing thing to watch somebody who actually is a good person
Yes, I can't express that enough.
get good things. Because a lot of good things don't happen to good people. It's very rare that good things happen to good people.
Yeah.
And Cash Flow is a very good person, and he deserves everything that he's getting right now.
Yeah, I can't say that enough.
Excellent. So let's see here. Now, the wrestlers, not the wrestler. That's a different story entirely. Although, real quick, what do you think about the wrestler?
The Wrestler, the movie?
Yes.
You know what? I love the movie. I hated the way that it ended. I was like, did he die? Did he not die? But, I love all wrestling movies because there's something to find. You can find something that relates in all of them, you know? And the grind, Mickey Rourke, it literally shows the grind of an independent wrestler. Like, Mickey Rourke did such a good job playing that role.
When Dylan was being filmed for that, and when I say Dylan, we're talking about Necro.
Yeah.
He called me, and it was funny because when he called me, it was just like another day. And hey, man, I said, what are you doing, buddy? I said, what are you doing, buddy? He said, oh, I'm just out here filming a movie. And it was an everyday thing, And I said, well, who are you playing? Oh, they got me playing myself. And I said, so what's it about? And you want to talk about a wake-up call when he said to me, man, it's kind of like your life, and it don't have a happy ending. And my son's named after that man. So if that tells you how that kind of a wake-up call, can't say enough good things about him either.
I remember the first time I ever met him before I ever even worked for him in West Virginia. It was because of you, just so you know. You are the man that introduced me to Necro for the first time at the gathering.
Where were we at?
Yeah. We were in Ohio. I'm not going to say what he was doing.
Okay. Las Vegas.
We were, you and I, and I think maybe Chewy and Mosh, you were Brian, Kid Vegas. We were all walking up the hill, and Necro was walking down the hill. And you was like, oh, hey, Dylan, you introduced me to him. So that was my very first introduction to Necro was because of you.
It was in passing.
Yeah, it was in passing. He had a person on his shoulders. He was going to do some extracurricular activities.
Las Vegas. You've got to go, Chris. I can't say it enough. You've got to go. And we'll help you up the hill if need be. Where's the trail?
Oh yeah.
Well, if it was just bad timing this year. But I'll be doing probably odds are excellent. I'll be doing a lot more traveling next year because of my new thing here.
Best crew at the gathering.
Yeah.
You could do live from the gathering. That would be awesome.
Right? But what's the best crew at the gathering?
Oh, Gypsy Crew, no doubt. Come on now. Come on now. Gypsy Crew for life, baby.
There aren't like rumbles, right? There's no, I hope.
No. We sit on higher ground. We're old.
Oh yeah, roll over.
We watch a lot.
Cool. All right. So, where is Maria going to be over the next few months? Any place we can come out and pitch for you? What do you got?
So I do have some wrestling coming up. I'm very picky on wrestling these days, just because I'm with WoW and stuff, and I don't want to, get hurt and not be able to go perform for TV.
Right.
I know we didn't. I was just going to throw this out there. We didn't talk about my daughter that much, but I do want to say that like being able to experience this with her is an amazing thing. We're the only ever mother-daughter that's ever been like signed together to a major company. I consider WoW a major company because it is for women's wrestling. But I'm working for convention pre-sales. We are bringing in folks, different conventions all over the United States. We've got Big Event New York coming up November 15th. We've got WrestleCade coming up the last weekend of November for in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. We've got Squared Circle Expo coming up at the end of March here in Indiana. So keep a lookout. We've got on our Facebook, my Facebook, Brandon's Facebook, or Convention Pre-Sales, either one. We've got all of our lists of guests coming in.
Excellent.
Going to be a good time. Actually, at WrestleCade, we've got Dawn Marie coming in, so that's going to be fun, because she doesn't do a lot of conventions, so she's going to do that for us. We've got like 12 wonderful ladies at WrestleCade. Like I said, Dawn Marie, Taryn Terrell, Brooke Adams, Haley J. We've got some of our OVW girls coming in, Larkin, Freya.
Nice.
Brandy Lauren. Sorry, I was thinking Brittany Brooks, Brandy Lauren. Brandy Lauren, she's on our list with us. Penelope Ford, Natalia Markova. Keep an eye on Natalia Markova, guys. She's very, very, very tough lady. I love her.
She is. She was at our Veterans Pro Wrestling event back in September. Very, very, very interesting character that she has there. I dig it. I dig it a lot.
Well, I'm also doing NWA. We are filming next weekend in Atlanta, Georgia. If anybody wants to come out and watch the NWA,
nice.
Atlanta, Georgia, or this weekend. Sorry, my bad. The 17th. That is this coming Friday.
Right.
This Friday. Yes, we'll be in Hot Atlanta.
All right. Well, I tell you what we can do, and I think this would be very interesting if you and Haley are free later this week, maybe next week. I'd love to have you guys on, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about some, some of the women's matches throughout the years. Maybe get some video clips together, kind of get the perspective of a female worker on, because I could talk to guys about it, but guys don't really, well, some of them, but Hondo does. Him and I are working on a project as well. So, Izzy, last thoughts.
It's absolutely my pleasure to have this wonderful woman on the show. As I said, her and I have a really, really awesome bond. And do we still have a deal on the lottery winnings?
I mean, absolutely. Come on now.
Okay. So we'll talk soon.
Excellent. Well, Maria, thank you so much for coming out. Absolute pleasure to meet you. We'll definitely talk soon because I'd love to have you and your daughter on talk about wrestling. And, we've we're just kind of blowing up here, and things are picking up steam, and we're having a great time. And
hang out
Izzy
after
and
we
I,
sign off. Just hang out.
yeah,
Of course.
yeah. All right, cool.
I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you all for having me on. I know Izzy and I've been talking about doing this for a while, and the timing has been insane. But
Right.
like I said, I got rid of the shoot job a couple weeks ago, so everything kind of slowed down a little bit for me.
Right on. Sounds good. Folks, we're going to be back on Sunday for the WMW podcast, and we might be back sooner with something that we're toying around with. So let's see what happens there. But we're going to go ahead and go out on this ad from our good friend Tarek the Great, and a new album that he is working on coming out soon, I think, like real soon. So, folks, again, I am the THC DOGG. With me, as always, is Mr. Izzy High, the amazing Maria. Thank you so much for your time. And, folks, we'll see you on Sunday for WMW.
Bye.
Clock Towers 2025. The clock is ticking. If I could see behind your eyes, what would I find? If I could feel inside your heart, would it be love or would it tear me apart? If you could read inside my mind,